certainly excited, enthused, encouraged, elated to see each and every one of your smiling faces, parcels, and spaces, dentures and braces on a day like today. It's exciting anytime I get a chance to travel and speak with folks about this notion of, are we actually wired for greatness? What does it actually take to actually exceed the expectation, to transform every stumbling block and turn it into a stepping stone, to make every obstacle an opportunity? But I learned growing up, as you look at this particular image, I'm the youngest of three. I'm the cute one in the middle. Yes, and you can talk about the big ears and how big my head is, but I got two older brothers that I call dumb and dumber. They said and did things that you should not do to a sibling. I think I've been in a washing machine and a dryer. I jumped off a roof with a sheet or a towel attached to me, thinking that I could fly, only to find out that I had human limitations. But we grew up in the same household, with the same morals, the same values, the same beliefs. Fortunately, the same set of parents in this day and age, which is now becoming a rarity. But we grew up in the same household, with the same morals, the same values, the same beliefs. And one cornerstone of that premise of being in the household of Garrett's is really simple, that there's greatness on the inside. That if the mind can conceive it, and the heart can believe it, then the hands can achieve it, because it all begins in the mind. Repeat after me, say, if the mind can conceive it,
if the mind can conceive it,
and the heart can believe it,
and the heart can believe it,
then the hands can achieve it,
then the hands can achieve
because
it,
it all begins in the mind.
it all begins in the mind.
And I got to tell you that because I get the luxury of spending time with some of our youngest and brightest citizens on a pretty regular basis. I travel across the country visiting preschools and elementary schools and middle schools and high schools, talking with students about this notion of what does it take to read to be great, in order to lead to be great. And I was in Omaha, Nebraska, talking with a group of students, and this little 5-year-old, she looked at me and said, I can believe it. I can receive it. I can achieve it. She had all the emotions mixed up, but it didn't matter. You know what she understood? She understood that there was greatness on the inside. And part of our greatest challenge in this day and age is to help folks realize that what you have on the inside, how do we help execute it and make it so that it can be seen on the outside? I like to think that I can give you some fairy tale about life, that life is going to be simple, it's going to be easy. It's not. Because in this day and age, we're preparing for stuff that we don't even know exists yet. I mean, literally every single day there is something new. There is some new app, some new program, some new content area, some new thing that I need to look at. We live in an era of what they say is fake news. But I'm a former school principal. Fake news is not new to me. If you have more than one child in your household, fake news is not new to you either. I would be on the playground in the middle of morning recess, and some incident has happened, and I have 5 students. I know I have to put all of them in different rooms because I realize you're going to tell me one version, you'll tell me another version, but once I get all 5 versions, I might actually have a complete story. So I've learned a long time ago, how do I distinguish between what is real and what is not? So I wrote this kid's book called There's Greatness on the Inside, right? I wanted to share with our youngest citizens this whole notion of how do you actually wrap your mind around having the ability to exceed the expectation. Not what the data says. I don't get caught up in stereotypes and what a file folder says, because I know I was that kid who I talked too much in class. I was a kid who I always asked 5 questions right before the bell, hoping that Miss Martin wouldn't give out homework. Only to find out that Miss Martin was smarter than me because she had been in the game much longer. Miss Martin was saying, thanks to Mr. Garrett, I will not explain your homework, but you can pick it up outside the door on your way out of the classroom. But I realized in all of those stages of life that the reality is our young people have to understand, as I pinned on this page, that it makes no difference how big or small you are. As long as you have a dream, you will go far. You see, this notion of what does it take to actually untap and to tap into the human potential. Oftentimes I refer to it as the triumph of the human spirit. That we meet the folks who are underdogs. Do you know why we fight for them and why we root for them? Because we want to believe that they have the capacity to do what others think that they can't. My life has been full of those. My eldest brother, who's now been incarcerated literally 19 years and 334 days, if my math is almost right. And then there's my little brother who was in the other photo. He lives 15 minutes from me. We all grew up in the same household, the same morals, the same values, the same beliefs. Yet we have different outcomes for how we live and how we've navigated our life. Does it make it any better or any worse? The reality is we are responsible for the choices that we make. But we all still understand that one premise, that there is greatness on the inside. You see, in life, there are two sets of folks, quite simply. There are dream makers and dream busters. Dream makers are those folks who spend 24 hours a day, 365 days of the year trying to determine, dictate, and decide how they'll make their dream come true. Then there are the other set of folks, we call them dream busters. The folks who have nothing else going on in their life other than to figure out, how do I rain on your parade? Even when there is no cloud and the sun is shining, how do I magically hover over you so that now that you believe that there is a cloud? I think Mary J. Blige called it hateration, holleration in this dancery, but I think you get the concept that there are dream makers and dream busters in life. But this premise that there's greatness, I don't care how many clouds come, but what I do know about storms is that storms don't last always. That as sure as I have blood in my veins and air in my lungs, and I can rise to see another day. Somebody once said that if you get knocked down, as long as you can still get up, you have an opportunity to make it a brand new day. A couple years ago, I did this very interesting photo shoot for my 45th birthday. I called it an alter ego photo shoot. And I sent this image to my mom. I was so excited. My nephew was there and friends. And she said, "Oh my God, you got 50 Cent to come to your party." And I didn't know which I was more confused about. That my mother knew the guy that's known as 2 quarters, or I said, "What do you mean 50 Cent's mama? That's me." She said, "No, boy, I birthed you. That is not you." But what I discovered is I show people that image, and they conjure up all these ideas of who that person is and who he isn't, what he can and cannot do, not knowing who it is crafted within the image. But they have ideas associated and attached with who they believe, and in some cases, who they really want him to be. So I would ask you today to take a look at that image, to give some thought for a second, and see even in your own background what comes to mind. Because then I found myself having a conversation with myself. 2 variations of the same person trapped in the same universe, living on this very same planet. That I realized that every single day the sun rises and every single day the sun sets, that society often sees me as 2 different people based upon their own background. But regardless of which image you prefer, the greatness still resides within each. It's our job, it's our duty, it's our challenge to recognize the greatness that is within you. That's within you and within you. You see, oftentimes we bring our own bias, our own perspective, which allows us to limit the potential of other folks who are standing in front of us. But I would encourage each of us to think differently, because the world looks different. Like this particular image from my book, the more you know, the more you grow, the more you learn, the more you earn. I was intentional, because as a kid growing up in Greensboro, North Carolina, folks would say, "You want to go to Paris? Do you mean like the Las Vegas Strip? Surely you don't mean France." Of course I do. I want to go to Egypt. You think you're going to go to Egypt from Greensboro, North Carolina? That's what one of my aunts would say. "Boy, you must be crazy. Now go over there and bring in that corn so we can shook it together." But the reality is I formulated this idea, this notion, that I wouldn't be limited by anybody else's perception or perspective. Thus, I've been able to do those same things. Yeah, I'm standing in front of the Leaning Tower of Pisa wearing the very same shirt that captures this particular page. And I put the Leaning Tower in on purpose because if you've ever been, spoiler alert, it's not as big as you think the tower actually is. I was like, "That's it? Okay." And I'm sitting there licking this gelato cone, and I went on Facebook Live, and I was so excited for people only to offer comments. "You should be offering a historical context of what the Leaning Tower stands for. And you should get your own Facebook page, and when you come to Italy, you can tell me about it." But whether it's Italy or France, or sitting in Bali with elephants, I tell people I live a magical life because I fundamentally believe that if the mind can conceive it and the heart can believe it, then the hands can achieve it, because it begins in the mind. It truly makes no difference how big or small you are. As long as you have a dream, you will go far. You see, those are undeniable, undisputable facts. And I don't need some set of data, some media hype person on a 24-hour cycle to tell me what is and what isn't. That data would tell me that because my brother and I live in the same household, that we both don't deserve to have a great future. That anybody that would come following him, that would bear the same name, that could be born into his same lineage, they should fall based on the statistics in the same place. But I've got two nephews that are college graduates, one who spends half of his year overseas, the other one who manages a rental car company. I don't care what the statistics say. I can tell you that there is greatness on the inside. As I move forward and wrap up this particular conversation, I want you to think about your future. And I want you to realize that you're living right now in the present. But every single time you take your eyes off the future, just a glance, even if for a second, every single time you turn around to look away from where it is you're trying to go, you're taking your eyes off your future. Every single time somebody tells you what you did in second grade or when you were 15 or when you were 18, or they tell you about the child that you had out of wedlock and how it would ruin your life and now it's the best thing that's probably ever happened to you. When they tell you about the job that you weren't good at, that you got fired at. Or when they tell me, like my 7th grade honors English teacher, Miss Alice Deaton in Morganton, North Carolina, you don't deserve to be in my honors English class. Please go back to the office, even though it's the first day of school, and find where you should be. That's why when I wrote my first book called The ABCs of Life, I sent her a copy. I signed it in long form, sent it via FedEx, signature required, because I signed it saying for every single student that you said couldn't, shouldn't, wouldn't, and won't, let me be one representative of all those who do, have done, and will continue to do so. Signed yours truly, Byron Valdecio, Garrett. Because I needed Mrs. Deaton, like we need the world to understand that your origin does not equal your destination. Does not matter where you start, but where you finish that counts. And as you think about this notion of greatness, I've got 26 short tips to help you achieve it. It's called the ABCs of Life. It simply says take the A to accept the challenge. Take the B to believe in the cause. Take the C and know that the choices you make, not the chances you take, determine success in life. Take the D to define yourself and develop your own goals and objectives. Take the E to expect failure, but also expect success. Take the F and fight on and be faithful and finish whatever it is you start. Take the G and gravitate towards positive, successful people for the right reason at the right time. Take the H and harness everything within you, not to be rich or famous or wealthy, but just to be happy. Happiness is something money can't afford. If it was, be traded on the New York Stock Exchange and would all be down in the dumps on any given day. Ask Mark Zuckerberg about losing $119 billion in one trading day and $19 billion of personal wealth. Then you take the I to initiate the process, to get involved, to learn how to, and every now and then, just let it all hang out. Take the J and know that jealousy gets you nowhere, but you must always justify your actions. That's why you take the K to keep on keeping on and kick those negative habits and negative folks to the curb. Take the L to learn how to learn, so you still learn something new every single day. And then you can think perhaps that great M for more money, more money, more money. But remember the great song that says the more money you have, the more problems you will see. That's why you measure your worth based upon what's inside your head and heart, instead of what's parked in your driveway or hanging in your closet. Take the N to never and say never. As you take the O to organize your life and order your steps, take the P and do me a personal favor. Put first things first, but always practice whatever it is you preach. Take the Q and quit quitting. Quitters never win and winners never quit. Or take the R to respect people based upon their skills, talents, and achievements, and respect them on nothing else. Take the S and stay strong to your values and beliefs and don't sell out to your friends or even your family. Take the T and travel the long road to equality, because we still have a long, long, long ways to go. Take the U to utilize your network or someone else's to do well in life, and then take the V to visualize it. Only when you see it can you be it. Take the W and work, 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 till all your work is done. But my personal favorite letter of the alphabet is the letter X, which stands for X-ray your own life for improvement. Not mine, your friends, your in-laws, Pookie, Ray Ray, Boo Boo, Humberto, Mom and them, or anybody else. X-ray your own life for improvement. In other words, you've got 24 hours in a day. 12 hours to mind your business, 12 hours to take care of your business, leaves you 0 time for anybody else's business. So X-ray your own life for improvement. Take the Y and yield to opportunity, and above all things, take the Z to zealously strive to achieve. Those are the ABCs of life, and I'm Byron Garrett, speaker for life. There's greatness on the inside, because if the mind can conceive it and the heart can believe it, then the hands can achieve it, because it all begins in the mind.